And thank you for staying with us. It's time for us to discuss the big stories in Nigeria at the moment, starting with Kano State. Following the sudden increase of 1.9 million naira in the Hajj fare, increased by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. The governor, I beg your pardon, of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf, approves a subsidy of 500,000 naira each for intending pilgrims from Kano embarking on the 2024 pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia. Now, he says these intending pilgrims that have registered and paid the initial deposit of 4.7 million naira and 4.5 million naira with the State Pilgrims Board, they will now deposit 1.4 million out of the 1.9 that have been increased. And a lot of questions have been coming up. Are we using government funds to increase this, or is this personal funds? You know, one of the comments that struck me before we look at this, and I completely apologize that I just went into the stories. My name is Chinwe Blessing, and I get to do this with political economist and in-house VOP analyst Adefolarin Olamilekon. Good evening. How are you feeling today?
Very great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us in the studio. So let's get into the matter properly. You heard it. You know, there was one of the comments that struck me, by the way. This person is Orlan K, says, with public funds first, it was the expensive iftar package. Now, this, you remember, he gave out some weeks ago. He gave out iftar packages from government purse. When would you look into out of school children and build investments that will yield returns in the state? If you want to do ibadah, do it from your personal pocket and not with taxpayer money. What do you think about the governor dipping his hand into public funds to do this?
That's how to have been happening over the years. It's not something that is starting today. Across the 36 states, all governors, any individual that finds themselves in position of authority, starting from the president, the ministers, Senate president, Speaker of the House, every member of the executive of the Nigerian government, the Nigerian state, once they are in position of authority, DG, commission, whatever position you occupy, once you are there, you are not spending your personal money for anything. It is the money of the state you are spending. Even ordinary councillor of a local of a ward doesn't spend his personal money for the next 3 years he's occupying a position. That's how it has been in Nigerian palace over the years, and not just under civilian, including military government. You get it? And it cut across democracy across the world. You spend public fund on your personal self as long as you are occupying that position until you leave. Now, on the issue of Kanu spending money on giving people food during this fasting period, it has been tradition that most governors in that part of the Nigeria have always carried out. Even those ones that are not from the Muslim dominated state, they still do the same thing. But the key question that Nigerians need to ask is that, should we draw a line between using your personal money to do a particular thing and using state money to do a particular thing?
I was going to ask about the ethicality of it. Is this ethical? I don't even want to ask if it's legal.
The issue is that the memo that the governor will write, he's not writing the memo that what's his name self, the governor's name,
Abba Yusuf.
Abba Yusuf is giving out food to people. He will say Kano state government is giving out food,
which is exactly what I'm saying. Is it ethical that we are dipping monies? Kano is one of the states in Nigeria that has one of the largest number of out of school children that are practicing what we call the Al-Majiri system. You go to Kano, Kano is littered with these children. It reeks of poverty in some parts. There's extreme poverty and extreme wealth in Kano, but we all know that poverty is more dominant in that place, right? You cannot compare the numbers.
Exactly.
Is this government supposed to be thinking, we are supposed to be doing something to better the economy of the state, or are we so blinded by religion to the point where we think it is ethical for us to dip hands into public funds that are meant? I know that money is definitely not, it wasn't budgeted. I don't want to believe Adefolarin that money is budgeted so that people that want to go for Hajj, how does Hajj and this is not about just, I'm talking pilgrimage generally, because I feel there's a day we need to sit down and discuss why the government is sponsoring people to go on pilgrimages. Your religion should be your personal business and should have absolutely nothing to do with the government. Why are we focused on how much people are supposed to be spending to go on pilgrimage? Where does that rank vis-a-vis the situation in the country, the extreme excruciating poverty that Nigerians are going through?
Until you all understand what is the essence of religion, both you and I and every other person out there, until we understand the essence of the pilgrimage himself, what essence does he have? The spiritual angle, the economic angle. You get it? Until you understand.
Right now, I think I'm interested in the economic angle, and we all should be. The spiritual angle is everybody's. That's your personal problem. It shouldn't be made. That's the point I'm driving at home here. Your spiritual life, your religious life, shouldn't be made the responsibility of the state. That's personal.
And I think the idea is also need for us to understand how people pay for their pilgrimage expenses. Government only subsidize for you, for instance, if you are like the ones that use foreign currency.
Why?
The why question is the why answer, or the
we are not thinking of subsidizing other things. We are subsidizing Hajj.
Everything.
We are not subsidizing food prices in the market. Sane climes that are doing well, relatively much more better than us. In Africa here, they are subsidizing food prices. They are subsidizing education. We are here saying that we can no longer afford to subsidize electricity and power the country. You can see what is happening with electricity. Everybody is feeling the heat. We can't subsidize fuel anymore. Everybody is feeling the heat. But we are subsidizing Hajj. We are subsidizing pilgrimage. How does that make sense?
The issue is this. I said something when we started. I said, until you all understand the essence of that religious exercise per se, either the spiritual angle or the economic angle. Now, the essence why government put pressure and ensure that this also happens is that many of us also know that it is also a point of servicing the state. Now, ask me, why should someone pay almost 6 million naira to travel for Hajj? Now, what is being captured is this. Part of the money that you are spending is your money per se, your flight ticket, your accommodation, and your spending in that regard. Now, where the government come into to that subsidy that I mentioned was that in the foreign currency, in the exchange rate. You can hear what he said. He said they pay 4.5 million. Did the government pay 4.5 million for anybody? No. But where the government come in, that it subsidize the exchange rate, whereby you may not need to pay so much when you are exchanging the dollar.
What's the economical implication of that subsidy that the government is putting their foot forward to give on the country?
Definitely, at the end of the day, each individual that go for the pilgrimage is expected to be a citizen of Nigeria. So in one way or the other, the government is also contributing to their spiritual well-being.
Sir, what is the economic... That's the question. What's the economic implication of the government?
The economic implication is very straight. We all see what is happening
on the government, rather.
On the government is that there are excessive budget that is being put in place.
So this doesn't serve us in any way as a country.
Definitely.
Tangibly, I'm not talking spirituality here, because we don't run a country based on spirituality. If we did, Nigeria will be one of the richest. Africa will be one of the richest continents in the world.
Definitely. That's why I said from the beginning that except you understand the essence of this religious exercise, either the spiritual angle or to the economic angle. Although there has been a contention and debate around this sponsoring and this subsidization of pilgrimage and Hajj, whatever you want to call it. But the question still remains that when we call ourselves a secular country, so why are we putting our hands in this kind of thing?
Exactly the question I'm asking, because I know that there is sadaqah. There's the principle of sadaqah. But sadaqah is your money, not public funds.
You are even going far. We don't even go to that level. Let's just focus on this issue of this pilgrimage and the rest of them, the government sponsor. Is it done in other countries that when citizens want to travel abroad, the government do part payment or subsidy payment for them? Then what is the good implication in terms of the rubbing on the economy? It's also good that also it has his own economic side, in the sense that the airlines that are going to be operating with that period are going to be making money, because no,
people will still afford. People that still want to go to the Hajj will go to the Hajj. There is no poor person that will cough out nearly 6 million naira just to go for pilgrimage.
That's why you don't see poor people going.
That's why I'm saying this is totally unnecessary. This is misplacement. This is misplaced priorities.
No, for you are talking about when we put it this way. Okay, for the government should remove its hand from it.
Absolutely,
definitely.
Let people do whatever they want to do with their spirituality.
The essence of this is that in also the economic aspect of it, the coordination of government also coming to ensure that Nigerian companies and Nigerian brand also benefit from that. If you have followed the history of this Hajj, initially before it wasn't Nigerian company that normally do the branding, they normally do the airlifting, but as we see today, Nigerian Airlines are the one doing the lifting of people who are going. Either you are going to Jerusalem or you are going to Mecca, any of them. But the key question is that how long will government be continue to subsidize some of those things for people who cannot afford to pay the full price of it? So in that regard, we can advise that let government pull its hand off entirely. But there's also a margin of profit that government is also making, and that's where it comes in, and that's why government doesn't want to remove its hand. When most of these pilgrims, when they travel abroad, they're supposed to, when they come back, there's supposed to be a return of unspent money that they put. But ask me, how many of them do government call back to come and collect?
I think the question should be, why are they even having access to government money to do something like pilgrimage? Now, don't get me wrong, I am not underestimating the value of pilgrimage to anybody, irrespective of their religion. Christians go to Jerusalem, Muslims go to on Hajj to Mecca. Wherever you want to go to practice whatever religion it is that you believe in, great. It's your personal problem. I do not see why the government is putting hands in government when we have states like the one that Oti is overseeing, Alex Oti is overseeing, is trying to make money. He's cutting. You think that it was an easy decision for Alex Oti to make that he cut off pensions for governors? It wasn't an easy decision for him to make.
He's still paying the past payment of subsidy for people going for
what I'm saying is he's trying to cut cost. Right? If he's still paying Hajj, pilgrimage for people in
to Jerusalem from his state,
he should. I think these are some of the things that are making us misplaced priorities. Misplaced priorities. That's why I kept saying it's not just about the Kano state. The reason why Kano state is topic of conversation right now is because just recently, a few weeks ago, he still put his hand in public money and was giving out expensive, lavish iftar packages. We can't afford that right now.
No.
People don't need fish.
In that regard, when government give out food to people, it's not a waste of resources.
Sir.
Food to people is not a waste of resources. Sir. I don't think that is a waste of resources.
There is a difference. There is a difference between you're giving out palliatives to your people in the meantime, and you are giving out iftar. They are two different things.
So if cooking
if I am not practicing, if I am an indigene of Kano and I am not practicing Islam, I can't go and collect your iftar. I didn't fast. I'm not observing Ramadan. There are two different things. We can try to run away from the facts as much as we want to, but the truth is there. He didn't give out palliatives during the Ramadan. If he had at least respected Nigerians to even say that. If his plan was to, give out iftar, but say, let's hide it as we are giving, would know that there's a little bit of regard for the minds of Nigerians.
Maybe
but he gave out, it was called iftar from the government in the statement that they made.
But the issue remains that maybe when he was giving out, I remember Kano State gave out palliative, but it didn't make the news because every other state was giving it. But why this one make the news was that maybe kind of the lofty of the food that was cooked that was being given, and such things make news. So we may not blame them for that, but for me, in my own understanding, giving out food to people is not a waste of resources. At
this time, what I believe governors should be doing is trying to save up money. And let's see how we can empower our people so that they don't have to keep coming back to us for handouts every single moment. Poverty is starting to become a very serious tool in this administration, whether we want to believe it or not. It's becoming a tool. Every government is starting to take advantage of it. The more you impoverish the people, the more you can manipulate their minds. And
Again,
that's, I mean, how do you argue? How do you convince people that that's not what you're doing when you'd rather feed them than teach them how to feed themselves?
it has been a challenge that we need to overcome over the years, but the problem still remains that the policy of each of the government that is either at national level or sub-national level will always give credence to things like this to happen. Not that they don't know what to do, they know what to do, but they keep on doing things that we know that at the end of the day it's a cyclical processes that keep the people at the bottom. But the key message still remains that if we really want accountability and transparency in public fund, things that need to be done must be done rightly. In this regard, either the government is sponsoring Hajj or is sponsoring pilgrimage or sponsoring anybody to any holiday that want to sponsor, the key message still remains that we need public accountability in all sphere of government spending. And as we have rightly pointed out, the money of government is not enough. So we should take those money into productivity sector. But guess what? Is the government ready for productivity? Is the government ready to reduce poverty?
These are the questions.
They are never ready, because
which is going to bring us back to the question of what are the actual priorities of this government? What are they actually there to do? I feel it's time for Nigerians to stop looking at the surface, looking at things on the surface, and begin to see what these politicians are doing and what their body language is saying. Who are they actually serving when they get to this position?
I think we should not be bringing up the issue of body language. What has body language got to do? That is their selfish interest. What they are just after is their selfish interest. So for me, it's about, okay, we have policies. The Tinubu government, for instance, at the national level have 88-page the Renew Hope agenda. So how much of that can be translated into a situation whereby the bottom poor will be impacted? But guess what? Most of the policies that have been since 1999 are policies that end at the middle class level. The bottom poor doesn't get impact of the policy of the government. So it is the middle class, the lower and the upper, and the rich.
The upper.
No. The lower already getting the lower get. That's why I see some people moving up a little, then they come down a little.
Are they for did you see anybody move up at all? In fact, now it has thinned. The line is becoming blurrer and blurrer. Nigeria is becoming a place where you are either rich or you are poor. There's hardly a middle class again.
Let me give you the middle class character in Nigeria. People that are staying in Gwarinpa, people that are staying in Kado, these are the middle class. People that are staying in Karo, people that are staying in all those flourishing luxury estate in Lugbe, Airport Road, those are the middle class. Yeah. Now, in between those two, they are divided middle class, upper and lower. Then, at the base of all of them are the bottom poor. People that are coming from Massacre, from Luvu, from all those.
Now, those are the people that are easily manipulated. I wish we could get more into this, but then we've got more stories.
We bring you all the big stories and what's behind them. Politics, business, sports, news, all on VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice.
And Abure has been re-elected as Labour Party National Chairman. I did all I could to avoid this story today because we've been talking about Labour Party drama for the past 3 days. But in all fairness, this is big enough for us to have to carry. Well, there was an election at the Congress. The convention, rather, the chairman of the National Convention and the deputy governor of Abia State, Mr. Ikechukwu Emetu, announced the winner of the party's national convention in Nnewi. That's in Anambra State earlier today, and Julius Abure was just that. Now, he engaged in a conflict with the leadership of the Nigerian Union headed by Ajaro. If you remember, we've been talking about it a lot. Now, of course, there is a response from we know who, Ajaro, because they will not let this fight to end. Yes, so the leadership, they both know they are very, very strong on this one. Now, the leadership of the Labour Congress have vowed not to accord the chairmanship of the Labour Party to Julius Abure any form of recognition following his, or give him any form of recognition following his election. Now, he was returned as the party's national chairman at the convention, just like we explained. And they are saying, listen, this is illegal. This is not right. And that was Benson Upa, the NLC spokesperson, when he was vowing that the Congress will never back the party under Abure's leadership. I'm going to ask you this question again. How important is it for the Labour Party and the NLC to work hand in hand right now?
You ask me, the owner who
and important to who?
Who owns the Labour Party? Who registered Labour Party? It's Nigerian Labour Congress. So who has the certificate of the Labour Party with them in their kitty? It's the Nigerian Labour Congress. So the question just bounced back this way, that as long as NLC stand away from Labour Party, it can exist as a party. It can bring in people. They can go and contest for election. But when it comes to the legality contestation about Labour Party themselves, if they go to court today, NLC will definitely win the case, because that party belongs to them. The current chairman of Labour Party, led by Abure, definitely other people, many people may recognize him, many people may give him the loyalty they want, but the Nigerian Labour Congress has said they are not going to give him the loyalty, meaning that they will withdraw their support from the party. But that doesn't stop Labour Party from moving ahead. That doesn't stop Labour Party from gaining more members, because as you speak right now, and as I understand what is happening right now, what the Nigerian Labour Congress is just doing, that the support base that has to do the workers' movement the Labour Party represent, there has been a disconnection. So Labour Party, has, for me, in my own understanding, is more like the other mainstream party with the ideology that carries the likes of APC, PDP, or any other party that you can think. But the core ideology that established Labour Party, as far as it's concerned, has been disconnected. And that's what the workers' democracy, the workers' principles, and the workers' ideology about how to run Labour Party as tailored to the UK Labour Party in United Kingdom. That's what the Labour Party is supposed to represent. But as we speak right now, it is all Jack and Harry that has occupied Labour Party as expected under Abure, not the ideological, build up Labour Party that NLC is trying to infuse into Labour Party.
Well, now that Abure is insisting that he's not going anywhere, irresponsive of the claims of the NLC, what do you think that the NLC should do to reclaim their party back?
He's going to court now, and they will definitely do that. And going to court means that they have to present all facts to show that that party belongs to them. But at the end of the day, I'll just hope that Abure could quickly learn and behave like someone who did also the same thing against Nigerian Labour Congress, and he get away with it. Talking about the man that led Labour Party for almost 10 years, Danny Warren. When he discovered that Labour NLC said they are no more backing you after conducting 2 conventions, he wanted to go for the 3rd one. They said no, drop this chairmanship. He quickly packaged himself and released the party to them, but he was wise enough to quickly form his own party. Because if Abure continues like this, the Nigerian Labour Congress will still collect their party. But if he doesn't plan well for his future, he will just be on top of the political water of Nigeria without any structure to hold on to. But I know that has been put in place by him, because I know he won't just be doing what he's doing without keeping something in a kitty that
you hope, because Nigerian politicians and politics people have they've never ceased to amaze us
at all.
We know what we are dealing with in Nigeria at a time, at the moment right now.
Exactly.
We know how the last elections went, and how we were like, no, this person cannot be using all of this vigorousness to campaign without proper planning on the ground.
Exactly.
And Nigerians have suffered a great deal, still suffering a great deal. It's just now we are starting to see a semblance of calm. It's not like we are not sinking. It's just we are not sinking anymore. We are still at the bottom of the ocean, but we are not sinking. We are not going deeper into. We are not burrowing into the floor. But you'll be very surprised that we will think, he's fighting this hard because he has anything. But the only reason he's fighting this hard is his ego. Definitely. We've seen it time and time again. We just hope that it's not. And you're talking about the plans of the Labour Party. You tell me if this is wise. The Labour Party is reserving the 2027 presidential ticket for Peter Obi. That's the situation right now. Now, their highest decision-making body, which is the National Convention, announced that they've already reserved the 2027 ticket for the party's leader, Mr. Peter Obi. Now, in the same breath, the party then went ahead to announce a right of first refusal for the Abure State Governor Alex Oti, and they said if he decides to seek re-election on the on the party's platform, they are not going to accept it. In the same breath. But before we get there, let's talk about them reserving do they get to reserve tickets for individuals?
They already know what it will gain for them. They want that popularity to continue. They want that oil of that obedient movement to continue to rub on them. But I can tell them as a political strategist that oil will fade on them.
I mean, look at the way that they have been handling business. You've not gotten into power yet. You are not in fact, you've not smelt the office yet.
But you have already
you are already siphoning funds,
corruption, embezzlement, misappropriation. The thing that this
holding conventions, scattering your offices, your house is not in order.
The thing is that most of these guys, as I said earlier, these guys, they don't even know what they want. You know the reason why NS is even angry with Abure is that the majority of the people who constitute the current Labour Party are not people of ideology that NLC normally put forward. Most times, chairman of chapters of Labour Party are members of affiliate unions. But this time around, Abure changed entire network of Labour Party and brought all manner of people from who are in the mainstream political party like APC, PDP to come into Labour Party and occupy. That's why when you were off air, when we were talking, and I said, who are the people that went for the convention? They are not main Labour Party.
Now, when I ask, I mean, what does that then mean? Because we saw how what the APC became when people left the PDP, and now they just look like it's the same. Their family members they look like cousins.
Exactly. What the current Labour Party under Abure is enjoying is still the flow of the 2023 election. People they elected into National Assembly, the only one governor they had, people they elected into the state, so they are still getting dues from these guys. But bet it, before the end of the year, if these guys get dry, the Labour Party under Abure will get dry. By the time NLC collect their ticket or collect their certificate back or collect their mandate back, then Abure will just be dry.
Isn't there a role that Peter Obi should be playing in all of this, knowing that, you know, he is a very vital part of the Labour Party now as it stands, and all of this drama is going on? Don't you think he should be able to come in and say, well, what is going on? Can we put our house in order?
The question at the convention, was it there? It was not there. Since the day that allegation was proven that money have been embezzled, Obi disassociate himself from the current Labour Party under Abure. And there have been information going around that he's already affiliating himself with another political party for 2027. So the train of the obedient movement has already left the departure hall of current Labour Party under Abure.
If this is actually true, why then are they saving this ticket for him?
They are just keeping it to gather momentum. They already know that if they don't say that or if they don't do that, they will not get the momentum. As I said earlier in this discussion, now what they are enjoying is that they still want to use that deceptive political slogan or manipulation to draw people to themselves. But they have discovered that the person they are trying to draw, or the other group of people they are trying to, especially Nigerian youth, you know that since the day they discovered that Labour Party was not a party that the Nigerian youth can even have hope or believe in, minus Obi, everybody will do the vote. Everybody look elsewhere, and that would definitely what will happen to Labour Party under Abure. But me, I know that the man, I already had a plan B, C, D to escape.
To escape?
Exactly.
It is an escape situation now, don't you think? Well, I mean, we're still on you're still listening to the VOB roundoff on Voice of the People 96.1 FM Abuja. Do remember that you can join the conversation at any point on 0700 010 961 961. That is 0700 010 961 961. And you most definitely can send WhatsApp messages using the same phone number, voice notes, and call via WhatsApp. We're very interested in hearing your takes. What do you think about the situation going on in Labour Party? Also, should politicians governors be dipping their hands in state pockets to pay for religious related issues, or should it just be about people generally, and should religion be a personal thing? What is going on in Kano State, or what is going on in many other states, not just Kano, but Kano being case study? What are your thoughts regarding that? We still bring you.
We bring you all the big stories and what's behind them. Politics, business, sports, news, all on VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice.
Sorry.
And Thank you for staying with us. Now let's move to the Niger Delta region, Delta State in particular. Now, several Niger Delta lawyers from the Niger Delta Lawyers for Equity, NDLF, have called for the immediate national apologies from President Bola Tinubu and the Chief of Army Staff over the senseless, they described, raiding of Pa Edwin Clark's house. That's the South-South leader's home, by soldiers looking for arms and for suspects that were involved in the killing of those military personnel in Warri. Now, in Delta State. Now, in the statement that was signed by Chief Okponoka Omafiore and the secretary, that's the coordinator of the organization, and the secretary, Barrister Amos David, they demanded an apology for Pa Clark within the week. What do you think about this? Like, his house being raided. This is an elder statesman, well respected. This is the southern part of Nigeria. Respect is not a joke in those places. You don't just joke with the traditions and cultures of people like this, and they're already calling forth. What do you think this does to the relationship that is already strained relationship already between this community and the Nigerian Army?
I think for me, properly, the people who are saying that they are asking for national apology because someone else was raided. Is Edwin Clark above the law? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves. If there's any suspicious means whereby we need to check every other person, whether this criminality or this crime committed has a link to them. Just last week, 12 policemen went forth to rescue people, and 6 of them were killed in that same Delta State. A month ago, 19 policemen were killed, all their rifle taken in that same Delta State. So, as far as the national security concern of Nigeria is concerned now, everybody in Delta State is a suspect that his house can be ransacked.
Now, the thing is, Edwin Clark was one of the first people to come out and condemn this. And according to what this report is saying, he has been working closely with these military operatives and the police, and saying, I'm here to support. So why?
That doesn't beat intelligent downs. If you understand what I mean. Someone can come and say, sorry. Who knows whether that's where the fire comes from? So everybody is a suspect in Delta, including the government house need to be ransacked. The government house.
Would it? What are the chances that would have the government house being ransacked?
It's possible.
What are the possibilities? What
are if the intelligent leaders to go and ransack the government house?
You really trust Adefola? You really
the
trust
State House
the
of Assembly
government? You really trust the
if information lead that this thing could be there?
You trust the Nigerian military so well that they would raid the government house?
They will go if it's possible.
I like your faith. In this country, I will say nothing more than that. I don't know if you do agree with Adefola. Please do call us on the phone lines and tell me that I am absolutely wrong. That I do not believe that there is a day that is ever going to come that military personnel are going to raid the government house seeking arms so that they can charge whoever is guilty of putting those ammunitions there. Let's see if the person guilty of putting the arms there is not one of the people that is doing the raid.
Let me quickly cite one example. In what do you call it? In a presidential villa in the US, a bomb was planted.
Sir, this is Nigeria.
No,
this is not the United. There is nothing. No, sir.
All right.
Please.
I just want to cite an example. A bomb was planted.
Democracy in Africa is peculiar to Africa. Then democracy and politics in Nigeria is peculiar to this country. It works like this nowhere else in the world. There's nothing else you're going to say to convince me, sir.
All right, I get you. Go ahead.
Now, President Tinubu, during today was the day that these falling soldiers were laid to rest, and President Tinubu was present at their funerals. He has ordered the Nigerian Army to pay the slain soldiers benefits to their respective families. Definitely. And he said they should do it within the next 90 days. He doesn't want to hear any drama. He doesn't want to hear that. I mean, we've several times we've seen where, these benefits are not paid for years. People lose their lives, serving the country, and the benefits are not paid for. And the president is saying, hey, ASAP, 90 days. If these people, if I hear that you're not paid, we're going to have a problem. What do you think about this order? Do you think they would obey it?
Definitely they will. And again, let me also reiterate that the armies are exception. The armies, the Navy, the Air Force are exception. The DSS are exception when it comes to paying the entitlement of their men, their fallen heroes. We don't normally hear news about the army complaining that they are falling ill. They even put out adverts on social media on their website that so people have not, so family have not come up to collect the entitlement of their lost one. But if you talk about the police, if we can argue from now to tomorrow, police always have that problem not paying the entitlement.
I don't think we even have to argue it at this point. Now, President Tinubu also. Okay, sure, go ahead.
So for the army, we have given kudos to them. They don't waste time. How many times we have heard so many falling heroes from the army? Before you know, their family don't come out. There's a close friend that his son was part of the pilot that died with the former chief of army staff. His son was one of the pilots, and the father collected all the benefits immediately. It wasn't up to 2 weeks after the burial of those guys. They came 2 weeks with Nigerian Air Force, and it was settled. So we give kudos to them, and I know that the presidential order today will definitely follow it. I think the police should learn from them. That's just the message.
I hope that they will. Now, President Tinubu has also given scholarships and houses to the children and the families of these 17 soldiers that were killed in Delta State.
That's a very good one. We applaud that. So we just hope that the keys of the house will also be done within 90 days and given to them.
I hope that they are given at all. And
exactly.
The scholarships are in proper schools.
Definitely. That one too, definitely. If it's a presidential order,
it might end up being like the military schools.
As far as they can get the formal education that will help them for free for the next how many years those children will be in school, it will be a good one.
I mean, it's a very sad thing that happened, to this. Nobody deserves to be slaughtered like an animal. And
now, if you're not just supposed to ransacking someone's house and the kind of emotion that will grow up at that burial site, and people are asking for national apology.
Now again, when we go back to what happened there, I am still of the opinion that we don't know the exact details of what went down there. We have your word against mine situations there. We don't have so much proof as to what happened. There's too much controversy about what happened. And, when you listen to the stories with an open mind, you would begin to understand why, because I see no reason why people would just like mad animals just slaughter other people if there's nothing to hide or if there's no provocation. And if these people are coming out to say, hey, there was provocation, we are not saying there was. We're saying there should be an investigation, a proper investigation that is transparent enough for Nigerians to be able to see. Because if there's anything we've seen time and time again in this country is we call for investigations, but are these investigations carried out with all justice, equity and fairness, with all equity and fairness, so that justice will prevail at the end of the day? Let's be honest. I mean, if the governor is coming out to say, oh no, they just did this, because they were completely mean, I will totally understand why the governor will say that. They have to save face. I mean, if people are being shut up, they are being shut up for a reason. Like I've always said, there is a way that the military handle their peacekeeping missions. It's very intimidating. It's what they are known for. I don't think that you just go and sit down in a town hall with people and the next moment you are being slaughtered, except if one of these two things is happening. You are uncovering something and somebody doesn't want you to uncover it, or there was provocation. And if these people are claiming that there was provocation, I'm still of the opinion that there should be an investigation that would uncover what really went down. And I wish the investigation can be done by private bodies, because I can't trust the government to turn on the government.
The issue remains that even if there was provocation, if the other side has a better story, the Nigerian of today, they would have brought it out for us to see. But tomorrow,
like I said, is there proof?
They don't have it,
because they brought out stories and it was disregarded. There were stories. They admitted that there were stories.
They brought out the story that someone was recording himself. Now brought out the story of the town hall meeting, because you can't have a town hall meeting even in a secluded area that they don't have network. People will still video themselves with camera. So why are they not having that as a proof? All being said, exactly. You have called for inquiry. The government is doing their own. The people are also needed to provide information on what actually happened. We just hope by the end of the day there will be a balance of who to punish and who not to punish, who to reward and who to send to jail. That is just the message.
Dangote has decided to disburse our final story for the evening. Disburse 80,000 bags of rice for free in Lagos State. Commendable?
Commendable, but at the expense and the rate of what? Can't you crash the price of your sugar? Dollar is falling. You are not crashing the price of your sugar. You are not crashing the price of your all your noodles.
You're giving 80,000.
You are giving when you know that when you give with right hand, you are going to use left hand to collect all. That is just it. They are businessmen. Crash the price of all your things after you have the increase on dollar. Dollar is now 1,270 naira.
I wish we had enough time to talk about whether Nigerians should be celebrating, where the naira is at the moment. But you were saying
naira is technical appreciation now. There's nothing celebrating about anything, because at the end of the day, you buy the price that we are having is the price for people who are going to be going abroad for holidays, for education. Those are the kind of people, and people will be doing small importation. Then when they do the small importation by buying dollar at 1,270, when they are coming with those goods into the country, they are going to be exchanging. They are going to be paying an exchange rate at custom duty of 1,448 naira. So it's paying what is found foolish. You use 120 naira to buy something, but when you are coming back, you are added with over 100 naira. Then you want to transmit the price to the end consumer. You added over 300 naira. So it's deceiving you. It's just technical appreciation of the naira.
I mean, some people were of the opinion that we are on this Dangote thing, that the federal government was busy selling rice. Dangote is giving it out for free. So up Dangote and down, Dangote 1, the federal government 0. But that's of course they're very light.
People should ask themselves, where did the man buy where did the federal government buy the rice from?
They didn't buy it. They seized it. When customs sold rice, they seized it. They did not buy it. They seized it and they still sold it.
The rice that Dangote is selling is made in Nigeria. The rice that customs seized is contraband. Imported rice that was.
Why did they just give it? It was seized, and at the time it was
I've explained so just leave it.
It's time for us to leave the studios. Thank you very much, Adefolari Olavileka, for being a part of the show
today.
Thanks
for having me.
Very, very, as always, very beautiful conversation. And thank you for making a date with us. Please do same tomorrow, same time, on Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, Abuja. Let us endeavor to be ordinary people to each other, and I wish us the best. Good evening.